Hello and welcome to Homeschool MBA, where we talk about different management business administration topics. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. So the agenda today is purchase process in marketing. We had a few lectures on value added strategy in marketing and competitive advantage in marketing. Today we have a one-page slide which goes over the purchase process in marketing. Hello, Professor. How are you doing? Let's give the audience an overview of the purchase process in marketing.
Okay, thank you for calling. Purchase process or procurement process. These are, very important buzzwords. Procurement is a very, very technical process. There are a number of procurement manuals available because they deal with companies' policies that how they are going to invite tenders or how they're going to shortlist the companies and how they will, actually select the final one. So basically, it is a kind of replica of purchase policy of the company. However, this process has number of steps that are very important while taking the purchasing or while making a decision. Marketers must focus on the needs at each stage and have strategy to satisfy customers' needs accordingly. There are generally 5 steps involved in purchase or procurement process. Step number 1 is need assessment. Now, need assessment, what does it mean? It means assessing the primary or secondary needs of the client or of the customer. That is that if a product which is for personal use is being purchased, or it could be a business company need, if the equipment or automobile or whatever is being purchased for the use of the company. So therefore, the company's need assessment are, analyzed. So mark the difference that if there is a product for personal use, then personal needs and wishes are differentiated. And if it is a product to be used for the company as a whole, then it has the company's needs are to be assessed, that what will that company do with this if there are alternatives. And we always say, while we are assessing the needs, that why purchase if we can rent it? So that's again a very important factor, that what we consider is that, let's say for personal or even for that matter for company, if we can rent and that is more profitable, then why go into the process of procuring it? So this must be kept in mind, that why purchase if we can rent it. Number 2 step is market search. Now that we have decided that we are going to procure or we are going to purchase, the next step is that let's search out the market. This could be local, national, international, or global search. So that means that the product that you want to purchase, is it available locally or at national level within the country, or international level within, let's say, a few neighboring countries, or at global level, that is from the world market. So if the procurement is for a very large quantity and for a kind of sustainable development within the company, then perhaps you have to search globally that how where and when, how you're going to buy. To give you an example, that if a country or a company wants to buy an aircraft, so that would be a kind of global search. And if you are buying a motorbike, then it would be a local or national search. So that is a step number 2. Then you go to step number three, that what alternative do you have to buy? That is selecting alternatives, that is comparing prices, quality, warranty, availability, reliability, maintainability, and affordability. These are those business, buzzwords that must be analyzed and evaluated. That when we say comparing prices, what we do is we invite prices from different vendors, and then we, kind of assess them and analyze them. As far as quality, warranty is concerned, we define in our specifications that what quality do we need and what kind of warranties we need. And then we also look at the availability of that product, that how easily or how difficult it is to purchase that. Then we also consider the reliability, maintainability, and affordability of the product. That how do we do that? We look at the company's profile, and we look at our own past, or we look at the market and reviews in various business magazines and things like that, where all these qualities and warranties and guarantees are discussed. Even the brochures and the company's giveaways, they also kind of explain these. So we have to analyze that how far they are suitable to us. And then we go to step number four, that is purchase decision. Now, this is the most important stage when you have to take a decision. Now, this decision can be individual decision, and it can be collective decision. It can be a decision of a committee, or it can be decision of board of directors, or it can be just decision of the chief executive. So depending on the volume and the type of product that is to be procured, then what we do is that we going to buy from whom, when, where, how, what kind of guarantees and warranties and delivery schedules are available to us. And we are going to do this through a contract or an agreement. So then you have to design or define, you may call it contract or you may call it agreement, that what are various terms and conditions to be agreed between the buyer and the seller. And the contract or the agreement is signed, and then following that contract and agreement becomes, legal obligation on both parties. And any party who wriggles out of this contract, then there is a exit clause in the agreement or the contract where, mutually they kind of decide to quit out of the contract. Then the last is post-purchase analysis. That is that you have already got the product what you needed, and now you compare actual experience with expectations. Now, what do we mean by expectations? Expectations are the specifications that we had, given to the sellers, that this is what we want, the shape, the quality, and the, other specifications we give in detail, measurements and all that. So now we compare whether whatever specifications that we had given, the product has those specifications inbuilt or not. And if not, then we go back to our agreement or contract, and that's what we call post-purchase analysis. And if it is satisfactory and if we are fully satisfied, then there's a good relationship between the buyer and the seller. But if there are some deviations from the specifications, then the companies may even get into litigations or even into conflicts. And then another process or stage starts, that is how to resolve that conflict. So that is what generally speaking, the purchase process is all about. Yes.
Professor, one question, like you've highlighted these 5 points. Maybe you can elaborate on how these 5 points the consumer sees, and then how the marketing guy also sees the same 5 points and he can adjust his marketing strategy based on these 5 points.
You see, there are two different parties involved. One is the buyer, the other is the seller. So we have talked about the buyer. The seller is mostly interested in two things. Number one, the selling price. That will this buyer or can this a buyer afford the price to be paid? Is it possible for them to invest that sort of funds into the product that they are selling? Number one. Number two, what are the purchase terms and conditions? How much advance are they willing to give, and in what phases they are going to make the payment, and when will the final payment be made, and things like that. And if the payments are not made in time, then what happens to that? So that is kind of the seller's worries and their point of view. So they want to make sure that whenever they supply the product to the buyer has sufficient funds and is serious enough to purchase the product, not that they're just going to waste time. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to all our social media.